Good afternoon, Quilt Roadies. Well, I'm coming to you from a campground in Cannon Beach, Oregon, and it has been a lovely fall weekend. We are celebrating our 48th anniversary, and it is kind of funny because we didn't really think about this, that we actually camped on our honeymoon. Not quite as in nice. It was a fold-out tent camper with absolutely nothing but something to sleep on. And we actually camped and brought the camper from where we lived in Monterey County, California, all the way up to Oregon. And now here, a full turn, we now live in Oregon, and we're camping on our 48th anniversary. So that's kind of a funny turnaround, isn't it? We've had a wonderful time here. We're exhausted. G's taking a nap because I think we must have walked 6 miles on the beach trying to get those perfect photographs, and some of them will be included in this video. I did go to the Center Diamond, as you will see from the slideshow. It did not disappoint, and there were the best part about it was the fact that it was so busy. It was, I loved knowing that quilters were still filling their coffers with wonderful things. And that's the thing that surprised me about Cannon Beach this time of year, midweek. I thought it would be kind of a quieter time. It has not. It has been pedal to the metal. Everybody in the world is here, all age groups, shopping, having fun. Yeah, we've got our saltwater taffy, which is what we always love to get when we're here. I did go to the bookstore, which is one of my have-tos when I'm here, and I found the most interesting book. It is Why Rats Laugh and Jellyfish Sleep, and Other Enchanting Stories of Evolution. I know that it's not maybe everybody's cup of tea, but it's so is my kind of book. I'm generally, I do read fiction, but a lot of nonfiction and kind of weird stuff too. And so I have really been enjoying this book. So here's what it looks like. Yeah. And of course I had to, while I was in the bookstore, get an appropriate bookmark. Yes. I don't think this, it's kind of like, one of the things was, why can you smell a skunk like miles from where they might have sprayed? Who knows? There have been a lot of scientists that have worked on that. And it's all in this absolutely fascinating book to some of you. Yes, and then to go over what I've been stitching. So I know in the last video I kind of alluded to what I was going to stitch, and at the last minute some things did change. I did do a little bit of stitching on the Kathy Schmidt's pillow, and I almost have done the October, which is great because then I can move on. I'm going to make this kind of a monthly thing to get it done. So October will be done, and then this panel, which is about 18 inches by 18 inches, I believe, and it's on Spotify with Kathy Schmidt's. And I'm just going to make it into a giant pillow because it can stay out all year somewhere in the house, because it is, each month has a theme. And it is in my Crucio bag, which I do love. Now someone asked, let me see, I do have my questions here. I am going to look down here and see Yvonne. Yvonne asked, what kind of embroidery thread do I use with my embroidery and with this Kathy Schmidt's project? And I tend to, because I don't think of myself as adventurous when it comes to projects. I am adventurous in life, which drove my parents kind of crazy. So but I always think like the designer knows what they're talking about, and so I was using a variegated blue Valdani thread, and this looks to be about a number 8. It looks like it's a number 8. But she released a series of videos on this specific pillow in which she talked about how to stitch each month as it came up. It was a stitch along, which I did not keep up on, but that's another story. So I did work on that. I worked on a little bit of my cross stitch, but here's the thing that showed up at the last minute as kind of traveling along. It's in my Harry Potter project bag, which this one I made myself. I forgot about this one, and when I was looking around for a lot of what I wanted to take, what I wanted to bring, I found this. Yeah, you don't want to do a deep dive in the beehive because you don't know what you're going to get. I totally forgot about this. And what's really interesting is when I found this particular bag, it's kind of weird what you find inside of a bag. Like, where was this bag the last time? Because I found this bracelet that was that I had cut off of my arm, obviously, that said, drink responsibly, must be over 21. Now, I do not remember for the life of me where I was and why is it in this project bag. I'm going to leave it in there because I hope that somewhere down the line that memory will come back to me. I have no clue what it is. But this is it was a full kit that I purchased from Crabapple Hill when I went on a workshop. And it's the Broomhilda's Midnight Ride. So it's a long pillow. And I have all of the finishing things for it that came in the kit. And so I have been working on this in the evening when we're kind of tucked into the van, into Penny. And all I have left is the outline of the banner. Everything else is embroidered. And then I'll be able to, hopefully, before Halloween, it'd be nice. It's not going to be before October because too much is going on in the world for us, and I am constantly it seems like I'm on the move for the next couple months at least, but at least I'll have the embroidery done on this, and then the actual putting together of it will be hopefully sometime before October, but who knows. Also in this project bag, which was a surprise, I had no memory of this, was this pattern, another Crabapple Hill pattern. I can't find the front of it. Well, it's like I made a working copy of the Crabapple Hill Harvest Pumpkin, and this is it right here. Now, that's the thing, Meg Hockey, the way she transfers her patterns is with the smallest brown micron pen and a light box, and you just trace it directly onto the fabric. And so apparently I had done that, and here, I don't know if it'll show up, but here it is traced onto this polka dot fabric, and I have SF101 fused on the back, so it's all ready to start embroidering. And it looks awesome. I mean, this is going to be a fun one, and I can do this through November, so yeah, I'd like to get this one started. I'd like to get some older things. You know, it's kind of interesting. You fall in love and you just know you're going to do it, and then something else comes down the line, and then you're off and running. Teresa Kogut, who is a quilt fabric designer and a cross-stitch designer, she's a friend, and I'm going to be seeing her in November at Primitive Gatherings. We're just gonna, there's gonna be 4 of us just hanging out together, and she texted that she's gonna bring 1,000 projects to work on. And I said, oh, I'm gonna bring 1,000 projects, and I'm going to buy 1,000 projects. Yeah. So, yeah, that is a real possibility. Okay, so let's go on to the question and answer section. This should be like a game show. But Skujawa, Skujawa, I know you're laughing out loud. I just want to say that I am going to be looking up what a flange binding is, because I do not have a clue about that. But the whole flange binding makes me want to know what it's about. And then Jane Sturm says how to get lint off a jelly roll. Because you know, a jelly roll, those are like, they're done with a whole line of fabric, and they're done with this machine that just cuts it, and you get all this lint. Now, several people said that they used a lint roller just on both sides. That sounded like a good idea. I'm going to try that. Instead, I just kind of put up with the lint. Nicole Hansen said, how do you keep the pedal of your sewing machine from slipping? Where my pedal is, it hits the back wall of the sewing table, so it cannot go too far. But if anybody out there knows how they keep, like, do they have a special double-sided tape that keeps it in one spot? Do you even want it in one spot? Nicole wants to know. Pam Schultz asks, what do I enjoy while stitching? I have a wide variety of watches. I watch a lot of Floss Tube, which are the cross stitchers. Different cross stitchers do periodic videos on what they're doing. I watch that. I watch some quilt videos. I watch British TV. I sometimes will watch true crime stuff like Dateline or 2020. I like old movies, and so kind of whatever's on, I will try to find something interesting. I can't watch something that takes a lot of concentration, because I need to get the stitching or the quilting done. I don't want to make a mistake. And so, yeah, I don't want to watch anything. A lot of reruns. Yeah. Nancy James said she got a new phone or tablet, and she totally gets my pain. It has been the bane of my existence for this last 2 weeks. I cannot tell you. I still have to, when I get back home, I still have to go over to my son's house, and my daughter-in-law still has to help me figure something out, because it's like, I know I want this phone to be my terminal phone. I don't want to ever have to get another new phone. I now understand why my friend Marilyn, who turns 90 in October, has a cell phone but has a landline, and she likes it when I call her landline. I get it. I totally get it. Chris asked, why do I call my room the beehive? And I started calling it the beehive because I was always buzzing around, flitting from project to project, much like bees go from flower to flower. I was collecting threads. You'd find all kinds of threads on me that went to different projects, and I'd pull it off, and I'm like wondering which one this goes to. So I like how bees help each other, and that they're always busy. Sometimes you do see bees asleep in a flower, but it isn't very often. They're constantly going, and they're always planning their next move. So, yeah, the beehive is a hive in chaos most of the time, but it's my chaos, and I do love it. Susan Earle asked, how do I organize my time to craft, and how do I spend my time and get so much done? It's AI. It looks like I get a lot done, but not really. I get a lot started, or I get a lot dreamed, but I don't think of myself as one who gets a lot done. I will have sudden bursts of sheer hyper-focus, and then I'll get a bunch of stuff done. But it has to be the right moment, the right time. But most often I'm a starter. I love starting stuff, and then something will grab me and I'll be off and running. And I just kind of roll with it. I don't try to make a schedule. I've never been good at schedules. I did always show up on time to work, and I always worked my full shift. But that's why I chose the parts of nursing that I did, because you just never knew what was going to happen. You never knew what was going to happen. Christy G said, do you print the designs on the transferees in an inkjet printer? And yes, I do. So if the design fits on an 8x10 sheet, which is how I buy the transferees, is in a pack that has like a little stack of 8x10 pieces of transferees, I'll put that in the printer, and then put what I want to print in the top, and then it prints it out. If my project is bigger than the 8x10, then I'm going to butt the pieces up, if you know what I mean. Yeah, so I just use a regular inkjet printer, and yeah, works great. Let's see. I also was asked about whether I washed my red fabrics or not, and it's funny because in the van was a quilt, one of the early red and white, off-white quilts that I made, where I did not wash the fabric, and I did not know about color catchers, and so this is what happened. I don't know if you're gonna see it right there. right here, the red kind of bled off. And then what was really weird is when I washed the fabric, the white cream colored fabric ahead of time, much of it turned this color. Now, did it stop me from doing the quilt? No. But it was a lesson to me about red fabric. So although I don't pre-wash my red fabric, I do wash the quilts with a color catcher in there, and I'll usually, with bright reds, I'll throw in a couple of them, because then I don't end up with that, with this bleeding that happened. But you know, G doesn't seem to mind that quilt's on his bed, on his side of the van. Okay, now we're moving on to RNK Originals. Binding oldest to newest. No, I do the binding that is calling to me, especially if it's a quilt that I am gifting to someone specific, then that's the next binding. Or if it's one that I really want to see it totally done, or if I'm sick of seeing it and I want to have it done. There's no specific reason or no organized reason for picking the binding that I do. I just kind of think, okay, I got to get this one done. I got to get this one done. So, yeah, not very much organized planning goes on in the beehive. Jimmy Jones Shipman asked, favorite quilt? That's almost like a favorite child. I don't know, I kind of like my X-File quilt. It's because it was one that I designed and it was weird. And I was a big X-File fan. And so I did it, and it was in the Sisters show one year, and it turned out there were a lot of other X-File fans. But yeah, there's just a lot of, I have so many favorite quilts. I can't say that, I don't think I have a number one favorite quilt. Whatever my most excited quilt of the year is, that's my favorite for the year. Yeah. And then Social Ginger Johnson. She wanted me to talk a little bit about quilting cruises. Now, I have been, let's see, I took a cruise to South America with Sue Spargo, and I took a cruise to the Bahamas with Buttermilk Basin and Primitive Gatherings, Lisa. And what I can say is I had a fabulous time. I just had a fabulous time. The thing about cruising, and you know, G is over cruises. He does not want to do another cruise. I still think I'd like to do a river cruise, but the way these cruises were set up is that they entertained you, not just the cruise ship line, but the designer who was there. So we had parties, gatherings, we had a lot of stitching time, and my mother, back in the day, in the last maybe 10, 15 years of her life, ran a travel agency. She had her own travel agency. So we always had a bucket list of where we wanted to go, and we rarely repeated. But yeah, I've done stitching cruises to Alaska. That was fabulous. All of them were great. You know, all your needs as far as food, entertainment, sightseeing, that's all taken care of by the cruise company. And then when you have designers, they entertain you with whatever they've designed, and you have lots of stitching time where you and your girlfriends can hang out. In the evening, Sue Spargo would come down and seating area and just sit and talk and hang out. I mean, it really must have been exhausting for the designers, but for us it was like, ooh, yay, we get to meet these people and hang out with them on a different level than we would normally in a class, because it's more like you're showing up in your jammies with your stitching and you're just hanging out, and conversation is very relaxed, and it's wonderful. It's absolutely wonderful. And then the excursions are usually, a lot of them are geared towards stitching. So in Alaska we went to quilt shops along the way that we saw. It was just, I found it very, very entertaining. Gee, he liked it, but you know, it's better to go with girlfriends, because then you don't feel guilty about leaving them as you going off to stitch for the evening while they're like, okay, now what? You know. But yeah, I would highly recommend, if you have the resources and you have the time, why not now? Yeah, when? Now. Yeah, so I think that would be a fabulous thing to do with girlfriends. And that's why in November, 4 of us are just going to hang out at Primitive Gatherings. They have a retreat house there where you can rent space and just hang out and stitch and shop, and yeah, looking forward to that. So I think, yeah, I think I got through all the questions for this edition. If you have any other questions that you know, you've been thinking about and wondering about, just pop them down in the comments and we will answer them in the next episode. For now, this has been a lovely, lovely adventure for us. We really needed this time. We both totally agree that having grown up with ocean air, there's nothing. I mean, we slept till 7:30 this morning. That has never happened. It was like awesome. You get a little sound of the ocean and that fresh air, and we are like, he's in there taking a nap right now. Yeah, don't tell him I told you. But yeah, it's just a lovely, lovely time. And next year we'll be 49, and the year after that be 50. Let's hope. Let's hope. Yeah. Okay, well, you all take care, and you know I love you guys. So here I am at one of my most favorite places on the coast.